Does anybody think that if Tim Pool was written about and they referenced any type of geography, they wouldn't reference West Virginia?
One MAGA nonsense again. Right-winger Tim P. is out here saying the usual Tim-level dumb stuff. Sam Seder from the Majority Report broke it all down, and we're gonna take a look. We've got clips from Tim, clips from Sam, and of course Ev got thoughts too. Let's check it out.
This is a Tim Pool talking with Ian about the Maryland man hoax. Basically, he was in the White House press briefing and asked about the Maryland man hoax, and people are saying, what are you talking about, the Maryland man hoax?
Oh, the Maryland man hoax. Okay. Poor timing for Tim to come out with this on the day that Donald Trump was going to... He's got MS-13 on the picture of his hand. Not necessarily on the hand, but on the picture of the hand.
Look at what happened with the Covington kids. And we're going back years, but now the Maryland man hoax.
I got to talk about that. Okay, if I see both sides of this Maryland man thing. If I moved to California and some shit went down.
Ian, where are you from?
Ohio, but I'm from Maryland because I live in Maryland.
You're not from Maryland.
If someone asked me, where are you from? If I was in Germany and they're like, where are you from? I'd say Maryland.
No, you wouldn't.
Because that's where I came from.
That's not true.
Because I moved around so much, I would tell people I'm from LA when I lived in LA. When they would ask, where are you from? I'm from LA. I've been there 7 years.
You are one of the rare people who does that.
If I went to California and there was an article written and something happened and they were like, California man, something. Yeah, that's the meme. You can move to Florida. You're a Florida man. Dave, what's his name? Does that?
No.
So anyway, that's the state of
Come
mind.
on. These guys. I can't believe they're having a serious conversation about this.
This is just for people who don't understand why they're doing this. This is because Kilmar Abrego Garcia is described as a Maryland man because he, has a family there and a job. Well, he's been there since he's a teenager.
It's because they're not calling him a Maryland citizen or a Maryland resident because he doesn't have those legal statuses. So they call him a Maryland man.
People call me a Brooklyn podcaster.
I was going to say, I'm sort of like a Brooklyn guy, but not a man. I don't know what that is. Can we spend 45 minutes talking about that? As if it's like a serious news analyst?
The news wouldn't call you a Worcester man if something happened to you in Brooklyn.
Worcester guy. Nobody refers to me that. I try and push it.
Despite your best efforts.
Uh-huh.
And this is a huge problem because Tim's whole thing is that everyone's wrong calling him a Maryland man.
That's not true.
Because I moved around so much, I would tell people I'm from LA when I lived in LA. When they would ask, where are you from? I'm from LA. I've been there 7 years.
You are one of the rare people who does that.
If I went to California and there was an article written and something happened and they were like, California man, something. Yeah, that's the meme. You can move to Florida. You're a Florida man. Dave, what's his name? Does that?
No.
So anyway, that's
you're wrong.
State of mind. Is they?
No, it's not.
You can write it up as such.
Pause it for a second. You understand what happened here is that Tim Pool probably prepped as much for this as he did anything, which means that he probably spent like 90 seconds thinking about this. Oh, I've got a great angle.
Wrote 2 notes down.
I've got a great angle. He's not a real Maryland man. And he starts to introduce it, and Ian just immediately goes, wait, no, that's not true.
I call myself Ohio man.
Yeah, exactly. It would be weird. Worcester man Sam Seder does his show out of, does his classic Brooklyn podcast. Wait, what?
Yeah, and R.M. Brown pointed out that most people from Florida weren't born there, but they're still called Florida man, of course.
And there was an article written and something happened and they were like, California man, something. Yeah, that's the meme. You can move to Florida. You're a Florida man. Dave,
actually, you know what? It just occurs to me. I was born in New York, and I still think that I'm a Worcester guy.
Right, exactly.
I was born in New York. I was here for the first 18 months of my life.
Manhattanite Sam Seder.
That's
you're wrong.
State of mind. Is they?
No, it's not.
You can write it up as such if I'm residing in there.
You're lying to people.
These people, this guy's an El Salvadorian, and they're intentionally trying to spin it like he's an American Maryland dude.
That's the point. So
So what happened there is Ian realized he was getting in the way of the money here because the whole point is we're calling these guys illegal.
Exactly. Listen. I gotta feel. I want to make this clear. I feel bad for the people who work for Tim Pool because they are stranded. They've all of them moved to West Virginia, and West Virginia is not exactly like a burgeoning economy. and they're in rural West Virginia. And so their only way to make money at this point is Tim Pool, unless they're going to uproot themselves and move away. And that's a big risk.
Gotta pause for a second here and correct Sam on something. We'll get to Tim P's usual nonsense in a moment. But first, Sam's a bit off on the geography. Tim Pool lives near Martinsburg, West Virginia. And yeah, technically that's West Virginia, but it's not deep rural. That area is only about an hour from D.C., and it's been considered a suburb of Washington for a long time. I know that area well. There are jobs out there. Sure, it's not NYC or LA, but it's not the middle of nowhere either. So Sam's a little out of his depth on that one. Now, on to the real idiocy. The whole "he's not a Maryland man" thing. That's just the latest trick from the Trump crowd. Pam Bondi's used it, others in the administration too, and now all the right-wing talkers like Tim P are repeating it. It's just another tactic to label someone as other, strip away their identity, make them seem like they don't belong, make them less human, especially if they're immigrants. That's the goal. And let's be real, if Tim himself got arrested or something happened to his house, the report would list him as a West Virginia resident, not Chicago. He's lived there long enough. So this whole thing, total bad faith nonsense, just another way to distort reality for the sake of a narrative.
I mean, when I was down there, I can tell you that, and I don't want to, single anybody out because I don't want to get, Tim is very vindictive of my understanding. But there was a guy who had a fairly prominent position in his enterprise, and then when all the Russian money dried up, ended up having to take a much lower position, sort of like out of desperation. Anyways, keep going.
So mad how mad Tim gets here.
If I went to California and there was an article written and something happened and they were like, California man, something, something. Yeah, that's the meme. You can move to Florida. You're a Florida man.
No.
Dave, what's his name? Does that.
No.
So anyway, that's
you're wrong.
the state of mind.
You're wrong. No, it's not.
You can write it up as such if I'm residing
if
in
you're
there.
lying to people.
Well, these people, this guy's an El Salvadorian, and they're intentionally trying to spin it like he's an American Maryland
That's the
dude.
point.
So
they're intentionally lying. They're pushing a hoax. And Hassan Piker, did you know this? Hassan did not know the guy was from El Salvador. One of the most prominent leftist streamers, speaking to millions of people, and in his mind, he saw CNN, he saw ABC, he saw these outlets, and he was like, "This guy's from Maryland. I can't believe Trump would deport him."
So, we don't need to watch him more. Hassan watched the clip of Tim Pool asking this, and he was as confused as Ian was at what point Tim was making, because we all know Kilmar Garcia has been there for almost a decade. He is a union member. He has a family. So, the confusion why you wouldn't call him a Maryland man who has a life in Maryland is confusing to most people, and that's what Hassan reacted to. Hassan has covered this story multiple times months before that.
Does anybody think that if Tim Pool was written about and they referenced any type of geography, they wouldn't reference West Virginia? Yeah. I mean, now, did Tim Pool grow up in West Virginia? I have no idea where he grew up. All I know he's a West Virginia guy.
He's Illinois, maybe.
I love how mad he is, though, at Ian for ruining
Stepping on the bit.
Step on his bit.
No, it's not. You're lying.
You're lying.
You're lying.
Stop it.
Not calling yourself an Ohio man. Are you stupid? How stupid do you have to be?
Can you
to buy
imagine
that?
if I went on that show and said, "Listen, Ian, I'm not going to talk to you because you're going around pretending like you're an LA guy because you were in California.
Stealing LA valor.
And it's crazy. Nobody can trust a single word you say. You're just a hoaxer. Hoaxer.
And look, Sam, Seder, and Matt, they're mostly clowning on the sheer absurdity of what Tim P and that other guy, who honestly looks like he might pull a rabbit out of a hat at any second, are saying on that show. It's ridiculous. But there's a deeper, more dangerous angle here too. What we're seeing is how Donald Trump and the people around him have this uncanny ability to reshape reality. If Trump or someone from his orbit hadn't pushed this, "he's not a Maryland man, he's from El Salvador" line, no one would be saying that. It wouldn't even be a conversation, but because Trump says it, suddenly it becomes the narrative. Now all the right-wing media parrots at Tim P, Republican politicians, Trump staffers, even Marco Rubio jumped on that nonsense. And then the public conversation gets derailed. People are arguing over whether this guy counts as a Maryland man instead of focusing on what really matters. The fact that the Trump administration deported him in the first place. That's the core issue here. An unconstitutional, inhumane policy. But they shift the focus. It's classic misdirection. Meanwhile, Tim P is out here knowingly pushing garbage takes. accusing others of lying when he knows he's the one bending reality. It's all just a way to muddy the waters and keep people distracted. So let me know, do you buy what Tim P's selling? Or are you more on Sam Seder's side with this one? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you're with me, and don't forget to subscribe. I'm Chris on Culture, and I'll catch you in the next one.